But look at the difference between last year and this year. Extraordinary drought across the West, the worst we have ever seen.
Now, 7 News on your side amid increasing reports of birds, hundreds of them, found blind, dead, or dying right here in the DMV. And we want to warn you that some of these images are difficult to see.
Yeah, this is a rough one. So what do you do, though, if you find one of these birds near your home? Here's 7 News' Heather Graff now with advice from wildlife experts and the search for answers about why this is happening.
According to a report in the Washington Post, an unusual number of blind birds have been found dead or dying around Washington, D.C. lately, and wildlife...
It can't be seen, but this instrument can detect dark matter by the way it distorts starlight.
To something we know rather little about. An international team of astronomers has, though, reported a breakthrough about dark matter in the universe. This is the substance that scientists are sure exists, but still don't know exactly what it is. The researchers, though, believe that dark matter might be more spread out across the universe than had been previously predicted, and that could mean that Einstein's theory of general needs a revision.
And that's allowed astronomers to produce this map of how it's spread across the expanse of space.
It's an element of, unveiling mystery, something you couldn't see before, and suddenly it's there, and you think, wow.
So what is dark matter, and where is it in space? Well, let's start off with our own sun. It's one of 100 billion stars that make up our galaxy, the Milky Way, which in turn is one of countless others throughout the universe. Dark matter permeates space, with galaxies like tiny gems on a tangled cosmic web. The bright areas are where dark matter is most concentrated, and it's here that galaxies form. But the map is not what astronomers expected. The matter should be slightly more clumped together. Instead, it's smoother than predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity, which helps determine how the matter should have spread out after the Big Bang.
If the structures in this map are smoother than we expect them to be, which is what the results seem to hint at, it means that Einstein's theory is wrong. So you might think that that's a bad thing, that maybe, oh no, physics is broken, but for physicists it's extremely exciting because it means that we can find out something new about the way the universe really is.
Building on the work of Einstein, Carlos Frenk was among a group of scientists that developed the current model of cosmology.
Hearing now that there may be something not quite right with the theory, well, it's very disconcerting, it's very alarming, and in a way frightening to see that maybe my whole life's work might crumble in front of me.
Astronomers believe that we are at the start of a new revolution in cosmology.
About the future of the Earth's climate. The team says that a prolonged heatwave in the Siberian Arctic this year is unequivocal evidence of climate change, and that the record high temperatures in Siberia would be impossible without man-made global warming. Findings are of serious concern because here in the UK and the rest of Europe, the Arctic drives much of the weather that we experience. Our chief environment correspondent, Justin Rolat, has the story.
6 months of record-breaking temperatures have fueled massive forest fires in the Siberian Arctic this year. Great plumes of smoke were visible on satellite images last month. The red areas on this map show just how exceptional temperatures have been, more than 5 degrees above average across much of Siberia.
That included the highest temperature ever recorded north of the Arctic Circle, a sweltering 38 degrees centigrade. And now a Met Office-led international study has concluded this period of exceptional weather would have been impossible had the world not been warmed by man-made greenhouse gas emissions.
Solar eclipse today. The moon travelled directly in front of the sun in what's called an annular eclipse.
A rare solar eclipse that astronomers call a ring of fire took a bite out of the sun for more than an hour.
Because the moon's so far away from Earth, it didn't block out the whole sun, creating a ring of fire.
It's been a long time since we've seen this.
Oh yeah, Anthony, the Northeast, you've got to go back to 1959. That's before I was born. The next one, not until 2079. So this was my opportunity, my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see it. It did not disappoint.
An eclipse at sunrise in the United States. One of nature's most dazzling sights, the moon gliding in front of the sun, taking a bite from the shining disk. And this was the view from Canada, where the northernmost parts of the world were treated to a full spectacle.
As it was rising, I mean, it was something to see, and you had all kinds of iconic pictures around the Northeast. The sun rose over that iconic New York City skyline. Great shots from the Jersey Shore as well.
But today's event has delighted many around the world with a display of a true celestial wonder.
Well, it's not just Europe that's in the grip of unusually high temperatures. Japan is experiencing a record-breaking heat wave, which officials say contributed to the death of 65 people last week. More than 30,000 people were admitted to hospitals suffering from heat exhaustion. Rupert Wingfield-Hayes reports.
For more than 2 weeks now, the sun has burned down on Japan from a cloudless sky with barely a waft of wind. Outside the Imperial Palace in Tokyo, the heat shimmer tells its own story. Here, the tourists are sweltering in only 37 degrees today.
China is hot now, but compared between Tokyo and China, Tokyo is hotter.
A little further north in the city of Kumagaya, it is considerably hotter. The thermometer here hit 41.1 degrees on Monday, the highest ever recorded anywhere in Japan. The heat is not just uncomfortable, it is now extremely dangerous. At Tokyo's emergency dispatch center, the calls are coming thick and fast. The ambulance crews are struggling to keep up, as across Japan, more than 30,000 people have now been hospitalized with heat stroke or heat exhaustion. The elderly are most at risk. More than half of the deaths reported so far have been people over 65.
The water supply for 40 million Americans.
Well, by tomorrow, Lake Mead is expected to drop to its lowest level in history. Some 40 million people, including all of us right here in Clark County, rely on the reservoir for water. And as ABC's Matt Gutman explains, you may start noticing the effects of the water shortage very soon.
Tonight, the images of this mega drought are writ across the Southwest's landscape. Bathtub rings around reservoirs show where the water once was. Boat marinas and fields bone dry.
This part of the Colorado River system is a crucial water supply for Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Southern California. It makes the vast agricultural land of the desert Southwest possible.
This landscape screams problems to me. I mean, just look at the bathtub rings. To me, that is an enormous wake-up call.
Much of the water the dam is supposed to be holding back is gone.
This is like a different world.
A dangerous heat wave from the northern plains to New England is breaking records while the south faces a severe weather threat. Meanwhile, red flag fire warnings have been posted in several western states where a historic drought is threatening a catastrophic fire season.
Nearly 300,000 miles of the Southwest are in exceptional drought, an area bigger than the state of Texas.
The before and after pictures at Lake Orville from 2016 to now are striking.
Anywhere you look, weather nationwide is at extreme conditions. You've got the drought dominating the West Coast and relentless rains saturating the eastern seaboard.
In neighboring Utah, the dry conditions prompted the governor to call for a weekend of prayer.
We need more rain, and we need it now. We need some divine intervention.
The heat and humidity also produced scattered severe thunderstorms from Alabama to Texas, where a woman's body was recovered after floodwaters swept her car off the road. More than 100 homes were flooded outside of Houston.
As the West Coast thirsts for rain, with lakes dipping to their lowest level in decades, people on the East Coast are getting hit with blinding downpours. This video from North Carolina showing what drivers faced on Interstate 95, south of Raleigh, as severe storms moved through the area.
California's drought isn't just posing wildfire danger, it is also threatening a species of salmon.
Because the state experienced one of the driest years on record, waterways that would normally carry young salmon out to sea are now hotbeds of dirt and dust.
I'm standing currently 40 feet underwater, or should be standing 40 feet underwater.
Governor Gavin Newsom declared a drought emergency from a cracked lake bed in April.
The hots are getting hotter, the dries are getting drier. Iconic Chinook salmon need cold, running water to survive. They hatch in rivers, then migrate to the sea to mature. After a couple years, they swim back to where life began to reproduce or spawn. But this year, studies show fish born in the wild will likely die.